One of the most important things we're going to talk about today is why people buy products and services. I have seen time and time again for years that people make a very big mistake assuming that people buy their product or their service for the wrong reason. What I mean by that is I usually ask my students or my clients, why do people buy from you? And normally the first answer that I get is something to do with their features, their pricing, their product itself, how good it is, or how long they've been going, the different awards that they've won, everything to do with their specific product. However, I strongly believe, and I've seen this multiple times, and I think if this was the real reason that people bought products and services, the biggest brands in the world would probably create landing pages like this, right? Coca-Cola would talk about the fact that they're the #1 soft drink in the world since 1886. They talk about the amount of calories that they have or how much they cost. But this isn't how Coca-Cola advertises itself, is it? Almost every landing I see out there, and I've seen thousands, focus on the product that they're selling, their features, and their pricing. Because somehow we've all been taught and we've convinced ourselves that before someone buys any product or makes any decision about a service, we go through this elaborate process of rationally thinking and considering the pros versus the cons. This is not how people buy. This is. You see, our brain acts quickly and intuitively. We make decisions on emotion and then we justify them with logic. No matter what you're selling, what people really care about isn't the what, it's the why. And that's why Coca-Cola landing pages don't look like the one I showed you before. They look like this: open happiness. So these emotions are chosen carefully after you complete all sorts of research. So for example, we run an analysis on current behavior on the website. What are people doing? How are they behaving? Where are they clicking? Where are they dropping? Then we do research. We research the emotions that impact our customers the most. We look at the different psychological triggers, cognitive biases, the different real intent, hesitation, concerns that people have. Then we create a strategy and messaging according to everything that we've found in our research. And then we test everything to see if it increases conversions. So one thing to remember is that it's never just one emotion that drives our decisions. It's always a couple of emotions that work together. So how do you show emotions on a page? Today we're going to focus on two main emotions that work together, and we'll see how you can use these emotions to optimize your landing pages, your websites, or your emails. We'll talk about headlines, call to action buttons, your bullet points, and even your testimonials. So the first emotional trigger we're going to talk about is social image. It's based on how I want people to perceive me. So I found that social image is a very strong emotional trigger, and if you use it correctly on a page, it can do wonders to form a deeper connection with your customers or your clients, and of course increase revenue. Now that's the first emotional trigger. The second emotional trigger that goes hand in hand with social image is self-image. So this is how I feel about myself. I'd like to show you how to use these specific two emotional triggers on your different pages. So let's start with headline formulas. So first we'll start with writing our landing page as a headline. Now this is the main message of the page, and it's usually the first thing people see and read. Now there are dozens of headline formulas you can use, but today I want to share two of my go-to formulas. So formula number one is for self-image. Have a or become a desirable thing you can be proud of. Let me show you an example. Now again, this is self-image, so it's something about you. So the gym, finally have the body you can be proud of. If you're an online parenting program, become the parent you've always wanted to be, one you can be proud of. Or if you're selling an email software, write and send emails that make you money and proud. Notice how important it is to focus on the emotional value of it. It's you being proud of something that you have created. Become someone you've always wanted to be and be proud of it. Finally have that body you can be proud of. Write emails that make you proud, because that is where self-image comes in. On the other hand, you could use social image. And this is our second formula. The only solution made exclusively to most desirable social image outcome. So here's a few examples. For presentation software, you'd say the only presentation software that will make you look like a pro designer. If you sell VA services, then the only virtual assistant service that will make people ask, how does she get all that done? And if you're an online course for marketers, then the only program to help you become the badass marketer you've always wanted to be. Let's move on to call to action buttons. So before we dive into any, emotional triggers, I want to remind you of a few rules. So one is every call to action button should only have one goal. Number two, it should be very, very clear. So all sorts of buttons that say continue, next are very problematic because they need to be very clear. People should be able to look at your button and know instantly what will happen when they click on it. Number three, length doesn't matter. So copy, the amount of copy that you use on your call to action button doesn't matter. What matters is the value. So for the call to action part, I'm going to introduce you to one formula that I use the most. It's I'd like to what is a specific action they're going to take because I want to why. So we talk about the action they're going to take and the value they're going to perceive. Let me show you an example. I'd like to enroll now because I want to see jaw-dropping results in days. That's a great typo. So what you would see is enroll now, and underneath the CTA, you would see jaw-dropping results in days. Let's talk about bullet points. Now, bullet points are usually a long list of points that companies, products use to describe themselves, right? So common information you'll see on a bullet point is information about the product or the service itself. For example, we have X amount of templates, or you get lifetime access, or 50% off, or basically the different features that you have. So for example, if you're an online parenting course and your benefit is word-by-word scripts for handling talkback, the emotional value of that is confidently and calmly handle any crisis, no matter what life throws at you. If you're a landing page software, your feature is the fact that you can build faster landing pages. But the value is that you won't have to rely on developers because that is the real pain that they're feeling. If you're an online marketing course, then your feature or the benefit is that you will master the newest strategies. But the value of it is that you will gain your CEO's trust and confidence. So this is what it would look like on a page as an example. So online, let's talk about an online parenting course. Word by word scripts, so you can confidently and calmly handle any crisis, no matter what life throws at you. 49 on-demand video lessons, that's the benefit, the feature, to make you feel more confident, joyful, and successful as a parent. The no yelling formula to get your kids to listen at home and in public. Notice how in public is a social image trigger. So for example, we'd have become the parent you've always wanted to be, a parent you can be proud of. So this is your self-image, where we're using self-image in the headline. Then when we talk about what you're going to get when you enroll to this parenting course, we have those bullet points we just discussed. We have the call to action with that funny spelling mistake where it should say jaw-dropping results. And we have testimonials. Now, what's really interesting in testimonials is that for each page, you add one testimonial that highlights, well, basically what I did here is I highlighted self-image and social image. So now the question is, if we look at our website, if we look at our page that we are optimizing, do you think we have enough emotion in here? That's the question you always want to ask yourself. Now, you'll notice that under the call to action button, I also have trust symbols. So we have different logos of companies. Now, when you are either critiquing a new landing page, or if you go now to your website and you want to see, am I using enough emotion? Is there any emotion on my website? There are two questions that you can ask yourself. Number one, are you making it about the customer? When you look at the page, are you focused on your customer's value or the benefits and the features of the solution? Are you using the right words to bring out the emotions that you want to create on your page? Now, again, I introduced you to two, but there's so many different emotions that people might feel. Am I using testimonials that address the emotional needs of your prospects? Question number two is, can people consistently feel the emotion? So copy doesn't work on its own. It's part of a bigger picture. And today we've mostly spoken about copy and not design. So it can't go without colors and visuals and different elements on the page. Every element on the page should support your emotional triggers and strategy. Let me show you what I mean. Skype decided to go for the bandwagon effect. It's nice, but that's not actually how conversion works. Because remember that what we really want to convince people is of the value. People can't see value when they're looking at these kind of screenshots. What you need to use here is a strategic image that amplifies those emotions. So a cool thing to do is just before you're sending a brief to your designer, make sure they get all the information they need on the messaging and strategy that you want to test. So for example, you would want to make sure that all the images support the emotional strategy. You want to make sure that people can feel the emotion on mobile too, because there's so many problems that can come up. Are your colors, you want to make sure that the colors and the call to action buttons on your page support those emotional triggers, and does it pass the 5-second test? So there's many tools out there that will help you just test your page for 5 seconds and see how people feel about it. I guess to summarize, what I really want to say here is that the most important thing you should be asking yourself every single day is not what is your goal as a business, but what is your customer's goal? What is your user's goal? And remember that only when your customers achieve their goals will you actually achieve your own.